thank everybody for tuning into a special edition of Steel City Sports World. I'm your host, Luther Dupree, joined as always by Claudio Rosano. And, well, we did have Smoking Jim Frazier. He just left the building. He'll be right back, hopefully. Claudio, what's going on, buddy?
What's up, Luth? Good to see you, brother.
All right, man. So many big things. I want everybody to know. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, Steel City Luke, on YouTube, and also the Facebook page, Steel City Sports World. You'll get all the shows coming out, and we're going to have some free giveaways as well. Smoker Jim will be back in the building. Check out the website, too, scsportsworld.com, and also claudiorosano.com for everything that's going on. But we're going to start off like we always do with our Steel City news. Claudio's going to go first, and we'll try to see what's going on with Jim and see if we can get him back in. He's always having trouble with that Obama phone, so you never know with Jim. Hopefully he'll get it fixed, and we'll be able to get him back in here. But, Claudio, what do you got for us, buddy?
You know, it seems more and more that Major League Baseball celebrates mediocrity. The Pirates are at best mediocre, and it looks like they're going to have maybe possibly 4 All-Stars. For me, I said at the beginning of the season, I said Andrew McCutchen was going to be an All-Star, and I think he will be. I think he should be. Keller has surprised me. But outside of that, I think those two, I mean, everybody's talking about Bednar. I guess if you want to put him in. But for me, McCutchen, and even though he went 0 for 6 yesterday, McCutchen and Keller, I'm good with making the All-Star team. But when you put 4 All-Stars, which is what the rumor is, from a team that's really gone down since April, again, you're celebrating mediocrity. And then somebody just sent me a text the other day about the Angels making this huge push. The Angels are a couple games above 500. Everybody's going crazy. Ohtani's doing his thing. Again, I just think that Major League Baseball is mediocre all the way through, and people are celebrating it. And it's just hard for me to watch whenever you grew up like some of the boys that I have behind me here, the 71 Pirates, 79 Pirates, Clemente, and the Yankees of that era. It's hard to celebrate what I'm watching today. So that's pretty much it.
All right. Smoker Jim, it looks like he's still struggling to try to get in here. But I just have some thoughts that I wanted to talk about, Claudio. I want to take one of Kelly's "You Deserve Credit." I want to give credit to the Westinghouse Bulldogs. As we heard, they didn't have their weight room, but they just got all new equipment, the weight room. Look at that, Claudio. That's pretty nice there, buddy. I mean, the logo's on the floor. We're going to have to come out there and do some videos, but great season and the reward. That's big time. I mean, that's big time. They were working out in the halls before, but now they got all this nice new equipment. Looks good. We got to go take a visit, Claudio. It's excellent in there, brand new. Hopefully it leads to another great season for Westinghouse. But definitely you deserve credit for them. And also, I want to give credit to Rich Paul. Rich Paul, no question, he's LeBron's friend, but now he's the number 1 agent in the NBA. Got to start with LeBron, did some training, and now some of the biggest contracts, the Draymond Green at Golden State, Jeremy Grant, Portland, Fred VanVleet signed with Houston for $180 million. I mean, he's getting the job done. You deserve credit to Rich Paul doing his thing. So definitely like that. Did we get Jim in here yet? No. Hey, the number to call if anybody wants to join in on the show, it's a new number, 412-552-3043. So, Claudio, while Jim tries to get in, man, we just had him in before the show. Hopefully he'll make it. He'll make it happen, but we'll see about that. But let's go to first up. Go ahead, Colin.
Don't mind. Somebody came to my house the other day, and in the other room I have some trophies and stuff like that. But you deserve credit, Luther Dupree Jr. And I've said this on our show before. But when I was a kid, How I wished that we would have had somebody uh, grab the reins and do what you do and celebrate a lot of the high school athletes and notice the high school athletes and say that they've made a weight room and they put furniture and things like that. A lot of people may talk about it, as I've said, I'm sure, numerous times. You actually do it. You're not a taker. You give, and you give a lot of people awards and credits. So you should get that thing that you deserve credit. So, and I see we have Jim back. So, but congratulations to you again, Luther.
I appreciate that. Smoking Jim, back in the house. Can you hear us, Jim? Jim, can you hear us, Jim? Looks like he's frozen or he's asleep. Which one is it, Claudio?
Oh, he's asleep? You know that.
All right, Jim. All right, we're going to try to get him back in, man. We always have trouble with Jim when we do these live shows. Hopefully, we'll get him back pretty soon. He looks like he's knocked out there. Wake up, Jim. All right, let's see. Hold on, we do have a call. Caller, say your name, where you're calling from.
An NBA contract. And I was just wondering, was she into this before she married Kyrie Irving's father, or did she just become involved in it when she married Kyrie Irving's father? And what do you think about that deal?
Well, I think it's a great deal for Kyrie Irving. He gets a 3-year deal, $173 million, I believe. It's just an amazing deal. And I don't believe she was in it. This was her first time negotiating a NBA contract of that magnitude. So that was pretty powerful. And I'm glad Kyrie Irving, once again, he's setting the bar high. He's going to team up with Luka Doncic, and they're going to try to do some things with Dallas Mavericks. So kudos to Mark Cuban for making it happen. But, I think this was her first deal. She was the first Black woman to negotiate an NBA deal this large.
Oh, okay. It was interesting reading that. I just want to say Black woman magic, and you all have a good
show. Thank you, Donna. That's huge. Thank you for the call. First call today.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you, Donna. You take care.
Thank
you. All right, we got our first call. So at least we know the lines are working. Smoking Jim's phone might not be working, but the lines are working. So that's a good thing, Claudio. Hey, let's just jump right into the first topic that we had for today, the NBA offseason. First, we got one of the biggest players in the history of the league, Victor Wembanyama. What are your thoughts about him, Claudio?
There was a guy years ago, I believe his name was Earl Jones.
Okay.
I forget who went to school. And I thought he was going to be big time, talented player, but he obviously didn't make it in the NBA. Then another guy who was big time coming out of college, Ralph Sampson, who did have I think he had a nice career. And then I know we're going to talk about, Zion as well. I guess you'd have to say that the odds are in his favor that he's going to do well. But for some reason, Luther, I'm not jumping on the bandwagon just yet. I mean, some people just say and seemed like a nice young man, a mature young man. I'm just not sold. Now, having said that, I was sold on Anthony Davis. I said Anthony Davis was going to be bigger than big time. Marcus Camby was going to be bigger than big time. Marcus Camby had a long career. But I'm just not okay. I'm just not going to jump on the bandwagon just yet.
Okay. All right. We do have a comment. All right. So let me see. Frank Jackson, Victor's a bum. He is too skinny. All right, Frank, tell us what.
Again, he's got him. That's what Earl Jones, he's a little skinny. Samson's a little skinny. Now, having said that, okay, and I'm not riding the fence, but is his game? It isn't like years ago, Luther, where they would post up and they would bang, Moses Malone and Dawkins and Elvin Hayes and Wes Unseld and those guys and Lambeer and those guys would bang you. Now, if he does that kind of game, he might be in trouble. But again, with that size, you're going to want him to be underneath a little bit more. Is he going to be able to do that? That's my question.
Yeah, I hear you on that. Yeah, I think like we saw last year, Chet Holmgren, he was playing a summer league game. LeBron James runs into him. He's done for the whole season. So he's going to have to hit the weight room and really get in there and get some muscle on there. He looks athletic. Again, in that French league, he averaged 21 points,
right?
About 10 rebounds. We'll see what happens here. And
this being a baseball guy, lifting weights when you and I were coming up was a swear word. Okay, you did it to tone. Now everybody's bulking up. But the one thing that I tell athletes, be it basketball or you've talked many times about Pickett gaining weight and everything or muscle, you have to still keep that flexibility. He's a very flexible young man. And okay, if he's going to put some weight on, is it going to affect the fluidity of his shot? It may improve one aspect of his game, but is it going to affect his shot? That's something we're going to have to wait and see.
That's true. That's true. I think we're going to Smoker Jim's just going to try to call in. So hopefully we'll get him on the phone lines as well. But yeah, I you know what? As a number one pick, I would have picked him too. You can't teach 7'5". He does have skills, but he's going to have to put on some weight. All right. Smoker Jim. Hey, can you hear us, Jim? Okay. All right. Good. We'll have you right here. So we got Jim on the phone, Claudio. All right. Okay. So Smoker Jim, what is your we got your Smoking Jim's thoughts. We could get you back in here. What are your thoughts, Smoking Jim? What is your Steel City news? We'll jump back to that for you. Can you hear him, Claudio?
I cannot.
Hold on. Claudio, Jim, can you speak a little louder? Or I may have to give you another number. No, I'm going to give you another number to call, Jim, okay? All right. Claudio?
Yes, sir.
All right, yeah. So let me try to get Smoking Jim another number to call so we can get him set up. All right. Well, we'll get his you deserve credit or whatever he has to say when he calls back in. But let's go to the next topic as we still look at the off season. Jim, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
All right. Claudia, can you hear Jim now?
Yes.
All right. Now we got Smoking Jim. All right. So what is your you deserve credit, Smoking Jim?
My biggest deserved credit has to go out to Sam Clancy. What a living legend, man. They just named a street after him, and I remember watching them playing the round ball game back in the day, man, where the best player in the country was this guy named Gene Banks.
Yep.
Gene Banks was the LeBron James of his era, and they battled us back when Pennsylvania would play the best in the whole United States. And after the game, man, Sam Clancy just had a great game, but they gave the MVP trophy to Gene Banks, and everybody booed. And Gene Banks walked over, grabbed the trophy, and gave it to Sam Clancy. And so that was legendary. But, hey, this guy's number ought to be retired at pick. He's still the only player after 40 years to have 1,000 points and over 1,000 rebounds. He's the all-time lead rebounder in Pitt history with 1,300. Second place is Charles Smith with 900. So it's time to retire Sam Clancy's number at Pitt. 1,600 points, 1,300 rebounds. His rebound record will probably never be broken. So that's my take for today.
Okay, yeah, I like that. I like that. Sam Clancy, definitely a guy that as I put his picture up there, yeah, that was great to have a street named after him. Definitely a legend. And he's still around. He's still giving back to community. We can always see him at games, man. So
Yep.
I enjoyed that. Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. And also, go ahead,
See,
Claudio. Say it again, Claudio.
he played for the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah. Hey, so Jim, now we just briefly talked about a little bit of the NBA offseason, about Victor Wembanyama. Any thoughts on him, Smoking Jim? 7'5", going to San Antonio?
No thoughts.
Hey, Jim, let me ask you this, though. You mentioned Sam Clancy. Sam was and he was a man. I mean, he was built. He was a big guy, but he was an athlete, obviously was a basketball star and an NFL player as well. And he had some muscles on him. Now with Victor, Luther and I were talking about, he has to get a little bit bigger. He's going to hit the weight room. And I said that stretching and keeping his fluidity and flexibility is going to be paramount, because when you bulk up, you want to make sure that you don't lose that nice touch, that nice athleticism. How come a guy like Sam Clancy was able to be a big man and still be a good athlete? And a lot of these guys bulk up and they lose that athleticism.
Well, some guys are just freaking natures, man. They're able to do it. Sam was one of the guys, very underrated, underappreciated. His senior year, he sacrificed probably an NBA career because the team asked him at Pitt to move to center at 6'6" instead of staying at power forward. And, he was still able to, because he's such a great athlete, was able to play 13 years in the National Football League. So everybody's body is different. Some guys can lift weights and take steroids and it don't bother them. Other guys like Brian Bosworth and those guys, man, Tony Mandrich, they get off steroids and their whole body falls apart. So
yeah, good point.
Hey, all right, sticking with the offseason, one guy who's been in the news quite a bit is Zion Williamson. All over the news, he announced he had a baby coming, and then a ex-porn star girlfriend or whatever came out with a bunch of tweets. And Zion, she had more tweets than games that he's played in the NBA. Zion Williamson got a lot going on. Legs are always going. It seems like he wants to be a Ron Jeremy instead of the next LeBron or Jordan. I mean, your thoughts on that, Smoking Jim?
Well, I told you guys coming out, man. But everybody didn't want to hear it. I said that this guy would eat his way out of the NBA.
You did.
I said that, you know what I mean? You could just see it in his DNA. Exciting player, explosive player. Whenever he's on the court, man. But hey, man, I tell you what, man, you can't trust the big butt to smile. Everything is gold. Yeah, everything that glitters ain't gold, man. And I tell you what, man, these exotic dancers got more than just Zion Williams, man. I tell you what, brother, the twerk got half the NBA. So,
What, hey, Jim, you said he would eat himself out of the league. So you met more than one place, not only in the kitchen. He's all over the place, just getting busy. So, I mean, he got a lot to go on. I thought he might be traded in the offseason. They put a lot of money into him. He was ready to play for the playoffs, but he said his head wasn't right. And now we know why. It's just disappointment. New Orleans deserves better. Real disappointed in what's going on with Zion Williamson. And the last thing, go ahead.
Hey, Luther, can I ask you a question?
Of course.
Would you follow the NBA closer than me and probably closer than Claudio. But I see that Melo Ball got the max deal 260.
LaMelo Ball, LaMelo.
Is that what his name is?
LaMelo Ball, 5 years, 260 million. Yes.
Hey Luther, I sent you a text when I saw that, and I could not believe. But I would not have done that. I think that was ridiculous. That kind of number for him. I really. And then again, what does Smoking Jim say? The best ability is what? Availability.
But this is the first year he was injured. Last year he was an all-star. Led them to the playoffs.
Million?
Hey, but he's not the only one. There are 4 other guys that have gotten that. That's the max now. Anthony Edwards from Minnesota. Tyler Halliburton from Indiana Pacers also got that. That's just for a top player now.
I think it's crazy. I really do.
But now if you're Charlotte, you don't have a lot of people picking Charlotte when they want to go to a free agent. You have a star with star power who's been NBA All-Star, led the team to the playoff. You got to pay the guy. You don't want to lose him.
You know what, Joe? Believer that way. If you have that kind of money, you need a team. Okay, you don't just need the name guys. Get a team together. I was a huge fan of the Sixers back in the 70s. Okay, right. When they started winning, they had more role players than the superstars. Okay, there's only one basketball. But I think that number they could have spread it around and got themselves a nice team and won instead of putting all their chips on that guy.
Well, I mean that too. Yeah, but the salary cap. So go ahead, Claude. Go ahead, Jim. What's up?
I was gonna say me and Claudio may have been getting him mixed up with his brother.
Oh, Lonzo Ball. Yeah, Lonzo Ball for Chicago Bulls. Yeah, they're saying he might miss this season. But LaMelo, he hasn't been injury prone like his brother, probably because he didn't wear those big brawler band tennis shoes for his first year.
But do you agree though, Luther? If you put Jim, if you put all your money, all your eggs in that basket, okay, you're in trouble if he gets hurt or if he doesn't have the season or if they double team him. But if you spread it around, spread the wealth around and get some really good players and a nice bench, I don't know. That's what I'd have done.
Well, I mean, yes, he's going to eat up some of the salary cap, but Charlotte, they're not pushing the luxury tax, so they could bring in another player. They just got the number 2 pick overall in Miller from Alabama. So, I mean, I agree. They had to do it. Those top guys, you got to pay them. They want the max. They're going to get the max.
Is he a top like years ago when Magic got the numbers? Terrific. He deserved it. Bird, terrific. Jordan, terrific.
The numbers say you are, Claudio. You are what your numbers say. Over 20 points a game, 8 assists.
If you look back, I know what you're going to say to me, Luther. If you look back, there was a guy named John Long who played for the Detroit Pistons, put up the same numbers. He didn't make the max. I mean, again, like I said at the outset, we're celebrating mediocrity. He's a nice player. He's not an upper tier guy. Michael Jordan, give him even more than he wants. Scottie Pippen, give him stuff. LeBron, obviously, those guys, give them the money.
But Claudio, a lot of those guys were underpaid. Scottie Pippen, he was underpaid his whole career pretty much while he was with Chicago. Now these guys, the agents are better. These guys are getting paid what they deserve. You may say it's overpaid, but they're getting that bag, Claudio. Once you reach a certain level, they're making it happen.
If I'm the GM, like I said, there was guys that I grew up watching who used to get 20, 21 points a game. They didn't make the max. They made a nice chunk of change, but they weren't the highest paid guys.
Different era, Claudio. I mean, we always said that dinosaur age, that was back in the 70s, Claudio.
If you're a GM,
I'm going to keep the best players. I'm going to pay what I have to do to keep the best players on my team. You can't let these guys walk.
You didn't say the best team. You said the best player, not the best team.
Best players. People want to play with good players. People want to play with a LeBron. People want to play with a Kevin Durant, Devin Booker. Look what they've done.
Terrific. They deserve that money. But somebody who's going 20 points a game? 20 points a game.
He's a young star, and he's only in his early 20s. He's just reaching the tip of his service. You know, I think I would have paid it. If I'm Charlotte, you have to pay it to keep that guy, Claudio, for real. But also now, one thing I want to talk about, ESPN layoffs are coming out. A lot of guys have gotten laid off. I wanted to get your thoughts on that. Jim, were you on that list? But what are your thoughts, Smoky Jim, about all these layoffs for ESPN?
Laid off somewhere else. Me, you, Tim, and Ralph were laid off somewhere else.
Right. Yeah, ain't that the truth. But Jim, I wanted to get your thoughts on that.
Jalen, well, they tell me that one of the main reasons why ESPN had to do it was because the former punter from Borough got an $85 million contract.
Pat McAfee.
Yeah, Pat McAfee. So they had to, start laying off. Anytime, I can't believe Bradley didn't get laid off, but Ward.
Hey, 1 second, we'll put you on.
How in the world can you lay off Max Kellerman? He's about the best. He's about the best on TV. I'm very surprised. But then again, the bottom line is they put a lot of eggs in the basket of former NFL punter. I heard he got a pretty
$17 million a year, but he came with a fan base.
I'll tell you what, if you don't mind, before you get your caller in, Stephen A. Smith, I get it. Max Kellerman, I've never been a fan. I get Stephen A. Smith making the numbers he makes, okay? But McAfee is good for him. And if you're a fan of his, that's good. I don't get it. I do not get it. What is the big thing? Because everybody was talking about McAfee, so I tuned in. And I don't get it. That's just me.
Hey, real quick, we do have a call. Sean is on the air. Hey, Sean, thanks for calling. We're at this new setup. We're not in the studio this month. What's going on your mind, Sean?
What's up, Sean?
There's just a lot going on. Hey, what's going on, Claudia? I wish I could speak to Smoky Jim, but I can understand, technical difficulties.
No, he's on the phone. He can hear you.
Hey, what's up? Hey, what's up, Smoky Jim?
Hey, Sean, what it is, bro?
Hey, one thing you ain't say about Zion, and y'all gonna get a kick out of this. I never heard about the woman until not the stripper that he got pregnant, but the porn star that came out on the attack afterwards.
Oh, right.
So what I was told, I looked it up myself because I couldn't believe it. I heard it on a podcast. Every guy that she slept with in the porn industry was not black. They were white guys.
Mm.
And from what I've been told, in the porn industry, you make more money during interracial scenes. So, I'm in the words of OJ, I'm just saying.
Look, Sean does all the research. Sean, all right, Sean.
No, but let's as our guy Stack would say, let's focus on sports. That he got to deal with that, and that's what he got to do. When as Colin Cowherd said about Tiger Woods, and we'll move on.
Right.
When you got money, you are what your options are.
Sure.
Athlete, politician, mayor, owner of companies, whatever, you are what your options are. So let's just move on from that. A lot going on. It seemed like sports is 365. Shouldn't be surprised with ESPN cutting people off. When I was hearing rumors that Disney really wants to sell ESPN, I knew writing was on the wall eventually. The people who got let go, they made their name before ESPN. Hopefully they can continue to make their name after ESPN.
Right. Yeah, I'm surprised Todd McShay was gone as well. I did like his draft analysis. Of course, I like Jalen Rose. Jeff Van Gundy was interesting too. I liked him on the broadcast. And it's only the first round. There's a bunch more coming according to Stephen A.
Yes. And another thing, Spence Crawford. Those are my two favorite fighters right now. I'm going with Spence. I'm going with Earl Spence to beat Crawford. I think it's going to be a 12-round decision. The boxing is getting very interesting because I guess not the Charlo that's at 160 because they said he's dealing with major hand issue and personal problems, but the other one that's undisputed at 54.
Yeah, Jermell Charlo.
Canelo. I think one thing people should learn is that when you have the opportunities to make fights, you need to make them because Anthony Joshua and Eddie Hearn, they ran from our guy, the big guy.
Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder.
They ran from Deontay Wilder, and look at them now. They lost it. They got upset by the guy in the U.S. They had to go to Saudi Arabia to win the belt because the guy that upset him, he couldn't keep himself away from the food table.
Andy Ruiz, yeah. Andy Ruiz.
and so now nobody really wants to see a Joshua Wilder fight because Wilder's pushing 40.
Yeah.
You know?
And then Joshua has two losses. And then Joshua has two losses.
He got
Three losses. Three.
Joshua, he got 3 losses. He lost to Usyk twice.
And then Andy Ruiz.
That's the heavyweight and Andy Ruiz.
Yeah, that fight lost its luster. It should have happened when they were both undefeated, and it should have been for undisputed. You're right.
Yeah, because with Spence and Crawford, that was different because Spence told Crawford, I'm going to get all the belts, then we're going to fight. That was different. When it was Wilder against Joshua, Eddie Hearn wanted to control everything. Now he's screwed up because who does he have that anybody wants to see fight now?
Yeah, he lost. Yeah, he lost Canelo. Canelo's now with PBC and fighting Charlo. Yeah, you're right, Sean.
And then while this kept, I guess he's going back and forth with Oscar De La Hoya in regards to Ryan Garcia.
Mm-hmm.
So these people, they need to understand, if you got a fight to make, you better make it soon because when you make it later, it ain't going to be what it should have been at the peak of it.
Right.
So that's that. One thing I will say is that the NL Central got really interesting when Ellie De La Cruz came up with the Cincinnati Reds.
True.
Yeah, he's a stud, that's for sure. I think that's what everybody wanted Cruz to be, and he could have been if they would have just made a few adjustments. And he's still young enough to still be a major star. But Cincinnati's doing some things with that young man for sure.
Hey, Claudio, I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
I understand Ellie De La Cruz is a switch hitter. Oh, I forgot to say too. July 1st, happy Bobby Bonilla Day. We got to get that in there. We can't forget about
Oh, yeah. Greatest contract in sports history, right? What he got? $1 million every year.
Well, I'm going to tell you this now. Look at what Mookie Betts is going to get coming down the line. Mookie Betts is going to be getting $8 million a year.
Wow.
For like 10 years. Yeah, deferred salary. But back to Ellie De La Cruz and O'Neal Cruz. I noticed Ellie De La Cruz is a switch hitter. 2 things. 1, is O'Neal Cruz a switch hitter? And 2, when people are coming up, what age would you suggest them trying to be a switch hitter?
You know what? I learned how to read, write, and speak Italian from day one. If I had to learn now, I couldn't do it. I tried to learn how to play the piano at age 27. And I told the guy, look, I just want to play a few Lionel Richie songs, and he kicked me out. I couldn't do it, right? So it's better. My mom used to say, you give me the kid, you take the adult. I learned how to switch hit, okay, when I was, I used to hit apples and rocks, okay, when I was 10. And I could do it. Now, you have to be born with X amount of ability, without question. But it's better to start early. in my opinion. I know I do a lot of hitting lessons, and people say, well, I want him to switch hit, but he's not hitting well one side yet. You know, so you don't want to put a blanket on it. Okay, sure, you don't want to put a blanket on it, but if somebody's doing really well right-handed, and okay, let's see if he can switch hit. Okay, but again, I see it all the time. The kid's batting 210. Well, let's see if he can switch hit. Well, let's get him out of 210 first. Okay, let's graduate from 5th grade before we go to 6th grade.
There you go. I like that.
Okay.
Sean, you still with us? Okay.
Yeah. The reason why I asked that is, I saw one of the Reds games. You know, me being up here in Columbus, and I thought he was a left-handed hitter because all of his shots were on the left-hand side, and they just played the Padres. I want to say on Sunday, and I found that right-hand. I'm like, oh, he's a switch hitter. I'm like, this is going to be interesting to see how he turns out now.
You know what, though, and I think Jim will agree, and I think Luther will as well. Joe Namath once said, great quarterbacks are made, not born. I don't necessarily agree with that. You have to be born with X amount of ability. Then you can hone your skills and become, what you become. You have to have it. Like everybody always said, well, Larry Bird can't do this and he can't do that. He just worked hard. He worked hard, but he was born with X amount of ability too. There was people who worked just as hard, but they didn't have that ability.
They weren't 6'9", could shoot like that and could talk trash like that either. Or bad. Yeah.
I'm not saying that he could jump as well as a Jordan or something, or could run as fast. No, but he did have some innate abilities. He did have some God-given abilities that like me, I could study math all day long. That ain't me. I could work hard and study and get great tutors. I can't do it. I mean, I'm good at times tables, but that's about it. Trigonometry and the rest of that ain't for me. So you have to be born with X amount of ability. De La Cruz and a lot of those guys who switch hit. Pete Rose, people say, oh, he worked hard. Yes, he did, but he was also born with X amount of ability.
Right. Hey, Sean, you still there? Okay.
Yeah, I'm still here. One more thing. I think the Steelers are going to surprise people this year in a good way.
I was waiting.
All right. Why you say that, Sean? I agree with you, but why, Sean?
I think the best thing that happened was Kenny Pickett. I guess he had an interview series. Did he have an interview series on Big Ben's podcast?
I know Big Ben since made some comments about Kenny Pickett. I'm not sure if he was on a podcast yet.
Well, I think Ben's comments about Kenny Pickett will motivate him, and I think they're going to rally behind him.
Okay.
So I think the Steelers are going to do good. I think they did good in the draft. Injuries can, you know how that can go. But I think
Sean, can I ask you a question?
Oh, Kenny Pickett
Sean,
on Ben's podcast. He was on his podcast. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. His big thing, or as scouts say, what can you hang your hat on? For Kenny Pickett is what? His quickness, his elusiveness, I would say, correct?
Correct.
Okay. He gained 20 pounds. Everybody's talking about 20 pounds.
20 pounds of muscle, Claudio. Come on, you act like you gained 50.
20 pounds. You still got to carry it. Okay. What is the 20 pounds? What's that going to do? I think it may hurt him, Sean.
Claudia, you've been on him. I don't think it's going to hurt him. It's going to make him stronger so he can take those hits. He was last year.
Can take the hits, but how's that going to make it? That's just like somebody.
He's throwing a lot better. Claudio, come on. You'd have been like Kitty since he was at Pitt.
A puncher, Kalnaki, the boxer, can take a hell of a punch. That don't mean he's any good. You know what I mean?
Listen, I think you're completely wrong about Kenny Pickett. You're missing the swag. You're missing the leadership. You're missing the accuracy. Much more accurate.
There's swag with the wristbands, the white shoes. 1980, brother. There's swag.
Yeah, swag. And Kenny Pickett has it now, Claudio.
Don't know about that.
Hey, Sean, we have a couple more callers, man. I appreciate the
Okay.
call, man.
Thank you, guys.
All right, thank you, Sean. Sean
Thanks,
brought
Sean.
us some great points. And I'm gonna go to these phone calls. We did have a few people calling in. Please call back. We couldn't get you in. We got Eric Witt. He said, "Good evening, gentlemen. Gateway State champs." He got jokes for you, Smoker Jim. Kenny Steele. All right, Frank Jackson. He says Steelers D will be nasty. I think the defense can be pretty impressive this year. Eric, underdog, but I feel like the Steelers will get a wild card with Kenny. Eric said still need a real coach. The guy the first one. Come on, Eric. Hall of Fame Tomlin. We'll get him there. Hey, caller, say your name where you're calling from, please.
This is LD.
LD. Hey, LD, thanks for the call, LD.
Yeah, I was calling because I have a question for Claudio and for Luther.
Sure.
Yes, sir.
Jim, when Smoking Jim's in the studio, he has his hat on. I guess he just called in from home. He has his hat on. Does he ever take his hat off?
That's a good. I haven't seen Smoker Jim without a hat in 20 years.
LD, there was an old movie, Smokey and the Bandit, Burt Reynolds. Sally Field said, "Do you ever take your hat off?" He said, "I take my hat off for one thing and one thing only." And we'll leave it at that.
That's a good one, LD. Nice one.
I just want to say something about baseball. You know, this season I've been looking at a few games, and it's easier to look at since they changed some of the rules. And you see more hitting, you see more base stealing. The game and guys, when they hit a home run, they stand and look at the home run.
Yeah.
And they don't get penalized. They flip the bat. I think that's going to let the younger people look at the game also. It's kind of exciting now. What do you guys think about that?
Claudia, I'll let you go first. What do you?
I've always liked the personalities. I've liked the Ricky Hendersons, the Reggie Jacksons, the Lee Mazzillis, or the Joaquin Andahar. I like that. As far as more hitting, I don't agree with you there, LD, because it's still. I'll say this to you. I'll answer your question this way. Do you remember Jim Bibby?
Yes. Pitcher.
Okay. Yes, sir. Jim Bibby was a power pitcher. Now, I'm going to get the numbers wrong, but I think one year he threw for something like 280 innings, which is a lot. And he only had something like 160 strikeouts. Was it because he was not a power pitcher? No, Jim Bibby was a power pitcher. Those guys hit for contact. Nowadays, you get these guys who are just so-so pitchers, and they're striking out 10 batters in 5-6 innings. Is it because they're so great? No, it's because the hitters are uppercutting and swinging and missing and fly balls and home runs. John Candelaria, Jim Bibby, John Candelaria was not a power pitcher, but Candelaria had movement on all his pitches. Forget about the Hall of Famers like Carlton and Fergie Jenkins and Severs and those guys. Forget about those guys. Jim Palmer, forget about those guys. The other guys like the Rookers, the Candelarias, Ruthven, Roden, Andahar, Tiant, they would have been unbelievable today because they had movement, they changed eye levels, and they changed speeds. These hitters today would not have done well against those pitchers of the 70s and a piece of the 80s, in my opinion. The game is, for me, when I compare it to the two, I like the way the old days was played. I do like the stolen bases, okay? But the hitting, I don't think is anywhere near as good. I don't like the runner at second base thing. I don't like the fact that you can't play a shift. Play it. It's up to the offensive player to hit against it. It's just like in football, you say, well, you know what? We're going up against the passing team. You can't pass more than 10 times a game because that's don't mess with the strategy of the game. It's up to the other person to beat that strategy.
Hey, Claudia, I disagree. I love the changes that they've made. I hated the shift. I'm glad they got rid of it. And I like you said, LD, some of the changes make it more faster pace. So I think the younger kids will like it a lot better. They can get more interested. I like the changes. I think they're moving it into the right direction. Baseball was losing a lot of fans. I think this is moving in the right direction. Too bad the Pirates still continue to stink and they're moving in the wrong direction. But I do like the changes, and I think it'll help the game grow a little more.
LT, real quick, they talk about the shift, LD.
Hold on, real quick. Would you say, LD?
I don't like the shift too much. I think if a guy can hit it to right, let him hit it to right. Let the defense adjust to try to stop the guy. That's one change I don't like.
I love that change because I hated that super shift.
You know what, though, LD? Years ago, Ted Williams, they used to do the Williams shift. Richie Hebner in the 80s against the Mets when he was with the Phillies, they all shifted over. So what did he do? He hit 3-4 hits on the left side. What did they do the next game? They played him straight away. These guys, they'll put the entire team over there, and they'll hit a ball to right field and throw them out at first because the hitters either don't want to or they can't make the adjustment. That's where it suffers.
Mm. Hey, LD, what else is on your mind? What do you think about the NBA draft or any of the offseason issues?
I just want to say something about Zion.
Okay.
Zion Williamson.
Yes.
I think he's going to have a good year this year. I think that the things that have happened to him, I think he's going to turn it around this coming season. What do you guys think about that?
Is he going to get his weight under control? I don't think he'll play more than 50 games. He could have played this postseason, didn't play. I think New Orleans needs to trade him. I don't think he wants to be there. I think they should have traded him around draft time. I just don't think it's going to work for him in New Orleans. I think when he plays, he'll get his 20 points, 10 rebounds, but I don't think he'll play more than 50 games because he's not taking care of his body. He's too busy trying to be Ron Jeremy out in the community, and it's just not working for him. He got to get out of New Orleans.
I'll say this. Years ago, there was an NFL coach was asked, how's your team going to be? What's it up to? Is it the running game, the passing game? He said home life. If the home life, you're good. He's got to make sure that he takes care of business off the court so he can do well on. He's got it physically. There's no question about it.
Well, his knees, he has those. He got Kawhi Leonard's knees, so I don't know. Physically, he has some knee issues going on with him. But he's still young. Maybe he'll get his stuff together. Hopefully he can because he's an exciting player. But it's like you said, off the court, he's got to eat better. He's got to take care of his body better. And he's got to get his home life together because, all these tweets and different things that running the women, the porn stars, he has to get that under control. Right, Jim? Or you approve of it, Jim? LD, last thing. What do you think about Wembanyama, the 7'5" rookie for San Antonio? Do you think he's going to be a bust? Is he the next Sam Bowie?
Yeah, well, I think he's going to be decent, but he seems like a real timid kind of guy. Now, he doesn't have the physical ability right now, but he can get that if he lifts weights. Right. But I just wonder if he has that aggressive feeling that you need to really be good in that game, some of those guys are bruises that he's going to be playing against, and he just seems like he's a kind of timid kind of guy. But maybe he can grow out of that. Or
maybe got a lot of Tim Duncan in him. Tim Duncan wasn't a raw guy, but he was tough when it came down to it. Nobody bullied him, and he won. So Tim Duncan's still around. Maybe he could have that type of mentality. That's what I'm hoping. But I'm excited to see him. I'm excited about this draft. Yeah.
Because he can even lead the fast break. I've seen him a few times. Mm-hmm. That shows that he can do a lot of things on the floor, and he hits a 3-point shot.
And he can shoot a 3, and nobody's blocking his 3.
Right.
Size 7'5".
How accurate, LD, is he going to be, as I said earlier in the show, if he bulks up? How accurate is that shot going to be?
Yeah, but I guess he weighs, about 210, 220 now?
At 7'5", that's not much meat on those bones. I think he could stand to put on quite a bit and not lose that shot.
He'd go to
to 230, and no one would even know it. You know.
Right, right.
Kenny Pickett then.
Would you say, Claudio?
You should hang around Kenny Pickett and gain 20 pounds.
Oh, see, here you go. Still on that Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett's going to show you. I'm telling you, once he has a great season, Claudio will be the first one buying a Kenny Pickett shirt. I'm buying it for you, Claudio, for all that you're doing.
Well, I'll say he did good. Good for him.
I've been telling you guys he plays like Joe Montana.
There you go.
Talk to you guys later.
Hey, LD, thanks for the call. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
All right,
Bye.
LD. All right. Another great call from LD. Again, that opens up another line. People were calling in. Hey, we had a couple more comments. Ralph Williams said, hello, guys. Hey, Ralph, what's going on? And then we had Lorenzo Jackson. How much traction does Pittsburgh hardball get? Pittsburgh, are you familiar with that, Claudio?
Say it again.
PittsburghHardball.org. I don't know I'm not sure what Lorenzo Jackson was talking about there. Hey, but guys, let's move on a little bit. The running back position, we got to kind of jump ahead, has been devalued in the NFL. I hate the fact that it's been devalued. What are your thoughts about it? And we said, who's your top 10 running backs? You've been kind of quiet, Jim. What do you think about the running back position? It's sad the way it's going down. We have 3 top running backs that don't have a contract right now, in Dalvin Cook, Ezekiel Elliott. All those guys are looking for teams. What are your thoughts about it? And you have your top 10 list, Jim?
I didn't see that. You take the white man for that. I mean, Mel Kiper came out a few years ago. He valued the running back position. And, white folks got behind it. And now, man, listen, I agree with Luther and Claudio. If you got a great running back, man, you can control the game. You can win championships. You can dominate. Coach Tomlin and Pittsburgh Steelers is going about the paper the right way. They're putting their money into the offensive line and and the running back position. I think that you can dominate that. I think it's a shame that the New York Giants is not paying Barkley, who's the team captain, the leader, and when he's healthy, he's unstoppable. So it's a shame. I love the running game, and you're unstoppable if you got a great running game.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, Jim. Saquon Barkley's the heart and soul of that offense. He's having trouble getting his money, but they're paying that bum Daniel Jones $40 million a year. Other players even came out and said he's a bum. But he didn't have any problem getting his money, but the running backs always do. And it's just sad. And one of my favorite parts was always talking about the running backs, the golden age, the Thurman Thomases, the Barry Sanders, and all those guys. That was a great part of it. Now it's running back by committee a lot of times, but there's still some great ones, the Derrick Henrys, the Christian McCaffreys, the Josh Jacobs. And I think this year we're going to be talking about Najee Harris for the Steelers as being a top back this year. Claudia, what are your thoughts?
Again, I think the running game is so important because it takes time off the clock. It helps the defense. If you notice, most great running games, the defenses are pretty good, right? Now, I like Cook a lot, okay? And everybody's going to mention the same guys, Chubb, Henry, Jacobs, McCaffrey. But if you're asking me, and I'm going to throw a curve at all of you, my favorite running back, who I think could be the best running back in the league, both carrying and catching the ball, and I love the way he runs, and I know about running backs because I've been studying and watching them from the Lawrence McCutcheons, the O.J. Simpsons, to I can go on and on, Chuck Foreman, all those guys, is Najee Harris. I think that young man is big, not just big time. I think he could be big time. And if they use him properly and catch him out of the backfield as well, man, I just think the world of him. And I don't think he got enough credit when the Steelers made their run. Everybody again was going on Kenny Pickett. But what about what Harris did? He's the one who set things up. Pickett made some splash plays, as they say. The hell with the splash plays. Okay. I want a guy who's going to he runs hard. He hits the hole hard. He has good hands. He's got good speed. He's powerful. I love his legs. If you're asking me, I think if I had one back, I like Cook a lot, but I'm picking Najee Harris.
Oh, wow. Wow. Okay. Listen, we did get a couple more comments in here. Frank Jackson again. Running backs will make a comeback in the next few years. Okay.
It's cyclical.
Yeah, and Najee and Jalen will be a top 5 tandem this year. I could definitely see that. I think they're going to get the opportunity. And I think the fact that Jalen was so strong running, he really pushed Najee. Because you would see Najee go out the game, and Jalen would break off a 10-yard run, and then Najee would come back and be running harder than you've seen him run all game. So I like that combination. And I think they are going to be a powerful group this year. Top 5, I could definitely see that, Frank. Yeah, I'd say there'll be a top 5. Your thoughts real quick as we get ready to wrap up. Man, this hour went quick. Smoker Jim, your thoughts on the Najee Harris, Jalen Warren backfield combination?
On paper, the Steelers be very running the football, see if they Greg Claudio, I wouldn't trade Harris for anybody in football because this guy can catch 100 passes a year and he can run for 1,500 yards in the same year. And I think that you could be looking at let's go 1,000 yards this season and stay healthy.
Okay. Hey, next month we'll be hitting the NFL and also the college football and high school football heavy. We got Smoking Jim's favorite coach, Deion Sanders, moving to Colorado Buffaloes. Smoking Jim has some thoughts about him. I think it's a great move. I like what he's doing with the transfer portal. Smoking Jim thinks otherwise. I think he's going to have a great season. Jim, your thoughts as we wrap up on Deion? Smoke.
Can you hear me?
You were breaking up. Say that again, Smoker Jim.
It's a sellout. He could have had Jackson State where Grambling was on TV every week.
Oh,
he could have, he could have really changed the landscape of black college athletics and sports. But again, he decided to go to Colorado where there's very few blacks. Only blacks on campus. One's this football. Don't see. They amputated against. I don't even know why in Colorado, but
Jim, looks like we lost Jim.
Luther, Deion has a better phone than Jim. That's all I hope.
We know he has a better phone than Jim. Jim's still dealing with the Obama phone, but hopefully by next show we'll have it together. Hey, for Smoker Jim, for Claudia, I want to thank all the guests for tuning in and giving us a call, and we'll check you out next time. Everybody have a great week, and we'll see you next time. Peace.